similar pain points that we were wanting to accomplish with our snapshot. And you pair the Nexus with our snapshot. I mean, look at this, John. I mean, look how easy this is, man. Like that's literally 2 seconds. Like, I challenge anybody that has any other equipment right now when it comes to, you know, your plates that attach your equipment and your snapshot system to a race, and I guarantee the Ollin stuff's going to come out on top because it's just so fast, so efficient. And I've been running this for almost a year. And this is when I told you my ADD kicks in. Like, as I'm running prototypes, I have that vision. I can see the value that people are going to, you know, be able to experience in their own situations with it. And so I'm just anxious to get it into their hands. But that's why we did pre-orders, guys. We did pre-orders so that you get it pre-ordered, you can have it before hunting season this year and take advantage of it. But I used it in Wyoming on a deer hunt last year, or just this last fall. And literally this mountainside that we were glassing, there's just little slits of opening in between these thick trees.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Red.Beard Outdoors podcast. I'm Jonathan, your host, and here at Red.Beard Outdoors, we talk about faith, family, fitness, and the outdoors as we're all on our journeys to become better versions of ourselves for whatever your goals are. If you have a family, if you have kids, if you just want to be a better version for yourself, whatever it may be, if you're aiming to hunt better, if you're aiming to shoot your bow better, if you're aiming to bike, whatever it is, I'm wanting to share my journey with you as you're on your journey, and we can learn from each other and from the guests that we have here on the show. So today, I'm really excited. It being Saturday, we have the full-length episode where we've got Nathan, the founder of Ollin Digiscoping, on with me today. Nathan is a great dude. He is all over the place, guys. He's in Hawaii hunting with the hunt winner. He's in doing lots and lots of stuff. You're going to hear, if you didn't hear the first episode that I did with Nathan, I recommend going back and listening to that as well. We go over his story, why he started Ollin. We also talk about some brand new products that you may not have even heard of yet here on this episode. So definitely stay tuned for that. Nathan's just a great dude, constantly innovating, wants to make the best product on the market for you to better your game while you're out in the mountains, glassing, doing all the things that you've got going on. So with that being said, guys, stay tuned for this episode. As you're going through this, if you go in and want to purchase over an Ollin, they are a partner of the podcast. Definitely go check them out and use code RedBeard to save 10% on your purchase over at Ollin. Now let's go get into the episode with Nathan and Ollin. Welcome back to the Red.Beard Outdoors podcast. I'm Jonathan, your host, and here we have a fantastic guest for you guys. We've got Nathan Goodworth, and he is the owner, founder, extraordinaire of Ollin Digiscoping. And guys, Ollin, you've heard me talk about it a couple times. I had a recent episode where I had my kids show you how simple it is. Just the snap on and off with your phone, how quickly it aligns everything for you so you can get the best digiscoping footage available. And so there's so many benefits to it. And I've been using it for a couple years now. We were actually just talking about how our first podcast was in 2022, which I can't believe it's been almost 2 years. And we met at that TAC here in Utah back when it was in Park City. And so there's been some things that have launched since then. There's been some updates to the product. And we just wanted to go over that and also reintroduce you guys to Nathan here, who had this amazing story on how Ollin was created, why he chose the name, and why things are exploding and growing and taking over the market the way they have. So with that being said, Nathan, for people that don't know who you are you, man?
Well, good to be back on the podcast, and exciting to see that after a year and a half, you know, we're excited to see what's happened with Ollin, but it's really cool to see the growth that Jonathan here has had with his channel. His podcast is so official that before we started, there was a countdown on the screen. I can't remember which platform we used before, but it seems like this is just next level. You're continually coming out with awesome stuff. I'm sure your audience is continually growing. Make sure when you drop this podcast, this is what I tell everybody, because it's crazy, because I'll join other podcasts and we have a great conversation, and they'll go and share it on their platform and forget to tag us. And if you remind me, we'll make sure that we drop it. We provide a link so that you're getting additional eyeballs from the Ollin side too. But dude, super excited to see you again. Like I said, like podcast game's gone up. He looks a year and a half younger than when I last saw him, so he must be keeping up with the fitness game. And then, yeah, like he said, like I'm the founder of Ollin. It's been a year and a half since I joined Jonathan. We launched July 2022. A lot's happened since then. Our previous podcast was focused a lot on the origin story of Ollin, how the product came about, why it came about, why did we name the company Ollin, you know, what our mission statement was. And it's been cool to see that mission start to be realized throughout the year and a half. We've got a lot of work to still do, but yeah, the mission of Ollin, you know, through our innovative products, strategic partners, content that we create with guys like Jonathan, we want to connect each of you to your passions and empower you to move and act with all your hearts right now. That's always been the mission. And yeah, we've had innovative products come out since then, and hopefully we got a lot more exciting stuff coming. But yeah, that's a little bit about me, man. Thanks for having me back.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. And I don't think it's the youthfulness. I think it's like I got a new camera, so it looks good. Okay.
So that's what I got to update the camera then. That's what I need. I'm still using my old webcam in here.
Exactly. I stepped my game up a little bit. But no, it really is. It's crazy to think that it's been, I mean, what was it, May or June of that year that we had, or no, it was July of that year that we had TAC in Utah of 2022. And I mean, it's 2024 right now. It blows my mind how fast time goes, and the time's going to pass anyway. And it's just a matter of how you use that time. And I will say that you guys over there at Ollin, and there's things that are in the works. I'm not jealous of people that do product development. I love new gear. I love testing it. I love sharing it with other people, but I'm not envious of people like yourself that are constantly 5, 6, 7 years ahead of time creating things and still staying up on the things that are launching, like the Nexus system that we'll go over here soon. You know, that blows my mind every time I talk to people that come out with quality things, not some, you know, Chinese markup, whatever thing that they come out with, but something that you genuinely create. It blows my mind how it takes years of experimentation, putting it together, writing. I mean, I don't think you've got the napkin right now with you. Maybe you do, but of the little piece of paper that you drew the original Ollin system on with the magnets and everything, you showed that to me. It's crazy. Like, I just don't have the mind for that. I like talking to people, but creating stuff like that, just it's awesome. So just kind of a quick rundown.
That's in the original podcast we had, guys. Go back and look it up. I don't know if Jonathan can find a link and post it in this one or whatever from the original one, but I showed the drawings of, you know, our snapshot system was what we called our Digiscoping setup. I showed the original drawings when that idea first came about, and yeah, it's come a long way since then. And the reality is, like, for companies like Ollin, in order for us to stay relevant for a long period of time, especially in the hunting industry, where technical gear that solves real problems in the field is so essential, it's the only way we stay relevant for a long period of time. You know, I always have a little bit of envy on, you know, software companies or companies that sell like supplements like Phorm, where you've got a product that, you know, people are using and coming back and repurchasing time and time again. That's not who we are. We don't have supplements. And so for us, it's, you know, what other pain points am I experiencing in the field with gear and equipment? How can I take that to the next level? How can I come up with new innovative stuff? And yeah, it's a constant challenge. I wish we were 5 years ahead. We're trying to stay 2 years ahead right now on innovations, and I have, you know, a lot of ADD, so I get impatient with how long it takes from coming up with an idea to getting it to customers' hand, because, you know, I have the idea and I see the vision of people using this idea that I've had, this product, and I'm just so anxious to get it into their hands, and I have to dial back. And fortunately, I've got a full-time engineer, Paul, who's incredible and helps dial me back and reminds me that, you know, it takes time to go through the, you know, the prototyping phase. It takes time to, you know, update any tweaks to it. It takes time for production. It takes time for manufacturing. And then obviously it takes time to get things shipped out to customers. And so I'm trying to be patient with that process, but that's where we're at.
No, I definitely understand that. And even 2 years, you know, I said 5 to 7 years, but even 2 years ahead of time, it's, I mean, you know, I don't even know 2 weeks from now necessarily what exactly I'm going to be doing at this point in time 2 weeks from now. But yeah, that's just, it's crazy. It's awesome. it's scary to try and stay up on things and to kind of guess what your competitors are doing, so that you're not either launching something that's the same as theirs, or, it's just, all of the things that go into product development just blows my mind, at least when it comes into quality product development. There's product development where you can just kind of throw something out there and hope it sticks. And then there's the quality stuff like what you guys have come out with. And, like you said, you can go back to the original video that we had, the podcast that we had, and it'll share that picture that you have, which was awesome. I love seeing those initial drawings. And then, of course, why you chose the name Ollin. We'll do a little brief synopsis of that here. But I've got my spotter here. So let's talk a little bit about kind of initially you started with the snapshot system here. So this is the lens cover cap. And that just, you guys see how easy that is. It just twists off. And then you've got the magnet here. So this goes over and it is adjusted to specifically whatever your spotter is. We've got the binocular thing that has come out lately as well, the binocular snapshot system. If you just run binoculars and you don't have a spotter, you can grab one of those as well. But this pressure fits on, so you can take it off and on just depending on however you want to run it. And this thing is awesome. I don't have my phone case here right now, but the fact that it just snaps perfectly on, vertical or horizontal, super quick. So why did you make it so quick, Nathan? Just do a quick little rundown of why you wanted it to be so quick.
Yeah, so we dove into the story in more detail in the last podcast, but essentially a few years back, I had a once-in-a-lifetime bighorn sheep hunt that I had drawn out on. And it was the first time in my life, growing up Southeast Idaho, growing up in the mountains, always spent time in the outdoors. I've had competitor digiscoping products, but never really utilized them the way they're supposed to utilize. Number one, I didn't love how they worked. Number two, it just, it wasn't always convenient to just throw it in the pack. But when I drew out on this once-in-a-lifetime bighorn sheep hunt, it's like, man, judging these animals over here, judging those things compared to these things that I've hunted my whole life, just a completely different ball game. And so video and pictures were just, it's such a crucial tool. Honestly, it's with any animal, but specifically for me who had zero education and experience on bighorn sheep, like I needed to capture as much footage as possible. And there was one particular hunt, 10,000 feet in elevation, with my binos, glassed up a giant ram, switched my spotter onto my tripod, which took some time to do. And then by the time I finally tried to get my phone on there, my phone was like falling off. And our original launch video actually shows the actual footage of this. This really happened. I just was so frustrated that I couldn't capture that good quality footage to be able to compare this ram to other rams. And that's where that pain point became real. And so, yeah, for us, speed, efficiency in the field, and just making it so simple that whatever you're doing, whether it's hunting, whether you're just a photographer and you're trying to capture those experiences, you can focus on that moment and less time and effort on your equipment. And so, yeah, we set this digiscoping setup up like he mentioned. It literally automatically centers on your spotter right when you put it on. You can record vertical like this or horizontal without having to change anything. And then when you're not recording, it's as simple as putting your phone in your pack or wherever you carry your phone. And then you've got this magnetic protective cap keeping the dirt, debris, and moisture. So you can just always leave it on your spotter. And that's one of my favorite things about that product is I don't have to take it off. And, I always leave my case on here. So it's not another checklist that I have to, add to my equipment checklist. It's always ready to go. And so that's kind of the original story on how that started and kind of why we developed it. And yeah, since our previous podcast, we've expanded. We offer a lot more spotting scopes than we originally offered. And now we also offer a binocular adapter as well. Same phone case, works the exact same way, centers vertical, centers horizontal, without having to change anything. And yeah, that's kind of how that all started.
Yeah, no, I love it. And we've all been there in those situations. Now, mine wasn't as cool of a story as yours, but with this bull back here behind me, he, I could barely tell if there was antlers or not. And it was, of course, the furthest part of the unit that I was in. It was up at the top, and I'm like, this is the last day. Do I really want to go up there? And I was able to just pop my phone on my spotter and zoom in even more and be able to see those antler tips and say, all right, I'm good to go. Like, I don't know if I'm going
Right.
to get them or not, but I'm going to go do a Hail Mary here. And it ended up working out, obviously, is on my wall back there. But, you know,
Freaking
we've all
awesome.
been in those situations where you just want that quick snap on, snap off, being able to get the footage. It's always cool to be able to share the footage. It's not necessary to have footage per se, but I almost feel like it's becoming more necessary, because you want to share those experiences with your friends, your family. You want to share it with, maybe you've got a following on a social media platform. You want to share it with them. Tell the story, because you can't download what your eyeballs saw, right? But you can download a video that you've got from your phone, which is essentially the same view that you're getting from the spotter or the binoculars when you have this system. So, you know, it's definitely an awesome item to have. Yep.
I mean, it becomes a digital journal for all
Mm-hmm.
of us, right? Like our world's moved to such a digital world, and I would guess the majority of the people that listen to your podcast probably aren't taking the time to sit down at their bed at night and write in a physical journal what their day was. But every
Mm-hmm.
single day we have our phone, and being able to record stuff that we're doing, not just out in the field, record anything, your thoughts, whatever. Like it becomes a journal for us. And then on top of that, specifically in the hunting space, man, being able to go back and rewatch footage to judge animals, to judge shot placement, and to know, where did I hit this animal? If so, where? Like it changes the entire outcome.
Yep.
If you hit a shot that wasn't perfectly, right on par in the vitals, a lot of times you want to give that animal a lot more time before you go start tracking it. And I mean, you hear story after story after story from our customers and people using our stuff of how they've utilized this tool in their videos to make more ethical decisions, to make smarter
Mm-hmm.
decisions, and to be more efficient in the field. And that's the other reason why, like, to me, it hasn't just been something fun to take out and use. It's become like an essential tool to make me a better, more ethical hunter when I'm out in the field.
Yeah, and I would agree with that too. That's a great argument there for people that are like, well, why do you feel like you need to record it? Well, if you're the shooter, whether it's archery or rifle, and you're down, you take the shot, you're going to have some kind of recoil from the rifle. So you're going to get out of your scope, and then you're going to have to go back and find it. And you don't know, it's not always pumping blood out, of the animal that you've hit. So you don't know necessarily where you've hit. And it's hard if someone, is your spotter and they're looking in there, maybe they're excited. They're just as amped as you about getting this animal. And in their memory, may be like, oh, yeah, it was right in the pump house, when it may not have been. There's so many
Right.
factors that go into it. So I definitely agree with that. It's cool to be able to verify as well, where that was. And then being able to go back and replay that and then share it. Like, we have kids, and being able to go, and maybe your kids are too young to go on a backcountry elk hunt with you, being able to share that memory with them and have that video footage for them to be able to see and play in slow motion, maybe even on a big screen where they can see the arrow, and exactly where that arrow hit, and walk through that whole, like you said, a journal,
Mm-hmm.
of just being able to keep everything recorded there for them to be able to go back and see later. All of those are amazing reasons to snag this system, because it really does help tell your story. It helps you have a better experience, and there's no real guesswork to, again, the shot placement and things along those lines. If you need to go after that animal right now, wait a little bit, whatever. There's been times, we just had a recent hunt too, where unfortunately, my buddy didn't end up getting the elk. It was a very loud sound. It sounded like maybe it missed and hit a tree or something. Come to find out, we were able to take my phone or someone's phone and go back and rewatch the footage in super slow motion, zoomed in, and it's not super clear and crisp, but you're able to see the arrow and where the arrow ends up hitting this
Mm-hmm.
bull, and just barely skimmed him. Like it looks like it might have hit a scapula or something and bounced off. But you can see that and then say, okay, well, that bull's going to live. Unfortunately, it was a bad shot, angle, whatever it may be, but you're able to not spend, the next year wondering what happened to that bull. You're able to say, hey, I've
100%.
got footage here showing this is what happened. So for all that to be said, it's a great tool. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not just something, like I said, it's becoming less and less of a want and more of almost a need if you want to up your game when it comes to hunting.
And it's such an easy way to involve
Mm.
your younger kids in glassing. I've got 4 kids, all under the age of 7. As you can imagine, it's pretty much impossible for them to really look through a spotting scope with their naked eyes or even binoculars. But we can go on a drive together. I can have my spotting scope set up on a window mount in my vehicle, pull over, look at some, mule deer wintering, and I put my phone on, and any kid that's 3 years old or knows how to look at a screen. And so they can watch those animals in my phone and experience the same thing I'm experiencing without having to try to close one eye, look through the spotting scope. And so for me, it's a fun way to involve the kids too. Makes it easy, makes it fun.
That's definitely a great point as well. Like looking through a spotter is, for people that glass a lot more than I do, they talk about eye fatigue and things along those lines as well. If you have a screen, even if you have the smaller iPhone or the smaller smartphone, it's still bigger, and you're able to use both eyes to look at it. Once you've got, obviously, it dialed into the animal or the animals that you're watching, it's cool to be able to see it on that bigger screen rather than through one eyepiece on a spotter, and you're kind of hunched over. You maybe get a headache or whatever it may be. You're able to just watch it there on a screen like it's a YouTube video, basically. So.
And sometimes you capture things that you didn't even initially see, which is always fun to watch. Like it's hilarious to me when people are videoing stuff, how many people are like, oh, I didn't even see that deer. Like there's another deer bedded in this sagebrush that I hadn't even seen when I was looking. Because when you're looking through the spotter, a lot of times you're focusing on something, you get tunnel vision. But then when you got that video that you can go back and rewatch, you can see more of the area because you're viewing that whole area, and you're like, oh, I didn't see that. It happens with shed hunting too. It's like, people will go back like, oh my gosh, there was a shed I didn't even know about, and so I went and rewatched the video. And so just there's a million reasons why digiscoping, running the Ollin snapshot system, has benefits. And like I said, the best thing about our system too is it's super, super easy to use.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's definitely, those are all great benefits. So with that, guys, we're going to wrap up. No, I'm kidding. We've hit on all the topics here. With that, well, I want to move down the spotter here. So we've got the snapshot system up here. I love this attachment here because there have been times where my spotter is maybe in my bag like this, and a branch will snag this and pop this cap off. It doesn't happen very often, but having that there is great. But also this spotter, the scope cap, I don't know the technical term for it, but the cap keeps it protected from rain, snow, brush, things that are going to get into your eyepiece there. It definitely helps a ton. I definitely recommend using this to attach it to your spotter, so in case it does get popped off, you've got it attached there. Then moving down the neck here, I've got the snap tab, which is one of the newer items that you guys have come out with. So for people that are out there glassing and maybe it's windy, whatever, you don't want this hitting your tripod or whatever it may be hitting or just dangling out there, you're able to just pop this cap off and snap it on right there. And you can see it's hands-free, holds your cap in place, and this is just a little rubber band piece that goes around the neck of your spotter and is able to hold up your cap here. So where did that idea come from?
Yeah, so for those listening that maybe aren't watching the videos, so essentially what John's describing is, on our snapshot, we call it a snapshot system because there's multiple components to it. You've got the adapter that goes over your eyepiece on your spotting scope, and essentially that's designed to be able to just live on there. We've got a red logo icon on there, and as long as that logo icon is pointed northeast, south, or west, you're always going to get that perfect alignment with your phone, either vertical or horizontal. One of the things that we wanted to include, seeing that we designed that to live on your spotting scope, is a protective cap to keep, exactly what John said, to keep dirt, debris, and moisture away from your lens when you're running out in the field with that on your spotting scope. And one of the design things that I wanted to make sure that we incorporated when we designed that protective cap is I wanted it to be completely removable so that when you're glassing through your spotting scope, that protective cap didn't interfere with your line of sight at all. And so we added a tether to it so that you wouldn't lose it, wouldn't come off, but that you could completely remove it so it's not obstructing your view when you're looking through your spotter with our adapter on there. Now, what we learned and the feedback that we got from customers is, when you're sitting on a ridge trying to be quiet and you've got some wind or you're trying to make a quick move and you're carrying your spotting scope, well, that cap would dangle and sometimes hit your spotting scope and make noises. And so we didn't want that happening. And so we launched, it's a super simple, we call it our snap tab. It's essentially a little magnetic strip that attaches on the side of your spotting scope with either a rubber band type elastic, or it actually comes with in the kit some 3M backing. So if you want to put it on just like a sticker and not use the band, you can. I like the band just because then I can move it, orient it however I need to. But essentially the whole purpose of that is when you're sitting in those situations, you want to be quiet. It'll attach the cap to it and just hold that cap still when you're not, when you don't have it over top of your eyepiece. And so, yeah, that's our snap tab. Again, it's a pretty inexpensive, I think, a $29 accessory, but pays dividends when you're out in that field trying to be quiet, when you're making movement. And obviously, if you guys use John's discount code, you're going to get 10% off of that. But yeah, that's our snap tab. We designed it based off of customer feedback. And so, guys, we're listening. We're always listening. When you're using our stuff, please give us feedback, positive or negative. We're always trying to innovate and improve on our current design. And that was a product that we launched in lieu of feedback we got from customers. Yeah. So we appreciate that. And yeah, I don't go anywhere without it on my spotting scope now.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And it's really simple, easy to slide on and off. And like you said, you could put it on with a 3M tape. I like just the little band that it comes with, because then you can adjust where it sits on your spotter. And I keep, we're talking about spotters here because a lot of the time when you're doing digiscoping, you've got a spotter, but maybe you run some 15s or a 12, a set of 12s on your binoculars. Again, you have the option to get a binocular setup as well for the part that covers the eyepiece can go onto your binoculars. The way that I have it set up personally with my binoculars, and I don't have my binoculars here on hand, but I actually take that little cap and I sit it in the front pocket of my binocular case, or I guess the chest pouch that I have my binoculars in. And then if I do want to get some digiscoping footage with my binoculars, I just pull it out. It's a pressure fit onto the eye cup, and you just snap your phone on there as well. So super easy to use. If you're a binocular user over a spotter, there is options for that as well. I think the original, actually when this launched back in 2022, there was not an option for binoculars, but there is now. So
let me go grab. Yeah, we did a little collab with marsupial gear. Let me go grab another product that we have on our website real quick. Let me go up from there.
Perfect.
Just give me 2 seconds.
Yeah. Yep. So just while he's gone, guys, I'm going to kind of give you that rundown again. He did a great job explaining that. But again, there's the lens cap. So there's the cover. And it's pretty, like, if you're watching the video here, I'm going to show you. I'm putting some pressure on this here. And it's not coming off. It takes a lot to get this thing off. And the best way to get it off is just to twist it. And then that breaks the lock of the magnet and for it to come off there. But yeah, so you've got the pouch there. There was a marsupial collaboration you guys did.
Yeah, this will connect to any vinyl harness or backpack, but we love what those guys are doing over at Marsupial Gear. Jim's an incredible guy. He's the owner. They're another company that's always innovating. It's all USA-made products, always coming out with quality stuff, and they're not overcharging you, which is always super impressive to me. But yeah, this is essentially goes on the side of your vinyl harness, or you can put it in your backpack. But essentially, it's a place to store your phone. Your phone can slip directly into this like this, slide in, got a magnetic lid, and then right here is the pocket that you can actually store your bino adapter. It was actually designed specifically for the Ollin Digiscoping setup. So we really appreciate Jim. He sells these on his website. We actually sell these on ours. We ran out pretty quick because we did a pretty limited run on these first ones. But in fact, I think this week or next week, we're going to have all 3 of these colors available. So we've got the black one. We've got the Ranger Green is what they call this one. We'll have the Field Tan. So we'll have all of these available on our website as well. Another thing that you guys can buy, use code, RedBeard, right?
Yeah. RedBeard's the code we set
up for you. Yeah, code RedBeard, we get 10% off of these. But these are phenomenal. I love that I no longer am carrying my phone in my pocket because that creates an additional heat spot when I'm hiking and you get additional sweat there. Just having it on my side, it's super easily accessible, but then I can store both phone and digiscoping set up in there. Super nice. But yeah, that's our phone pouches that we launched and sell with marsupial gear, kind of a collab product. So this is a product, again, guys, it's being built by marsupial gear. They want to do collaboration on the design, so we help give feedback there. And then they obviously put our logo on there. But USA made, great product, and kind of helps you store that.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. That's awesome. And yeah, guys, if you prefer not to, because I know I sweat a lot when I'm hiking, and I sweat a lot in general. And so when my phone is in my pocket, I do get that moisture buildup on my phone as well. So I have to like pull it out, wipe it off, and then the camera, I can use the camera. But that's definitely a cool little feature there. A lot of times, I mean, it depends on, there's those people out there that use those I call it the backpack on your front. It's like I think Alaska Guide Creations. It's the big old, chest pouch. So for the people out there with their survival kit on their chest, add this to it and you'll definitely have a backpack on your back, on your front. But for people that are kind of minimalist like myself, that don't hold a ton of stuff in your binocular harness, it's cool to have that pouch right there available to, put your phone in, because most people don't use that one pouch on the side anyway. So that's cool. And marsupial gear makes great gear. They really do. USA made. I love the people that work over there. Jim's an awesome guy as well, and just awesome group of individuals to support. So cool. I love that you guys have the new colors too, because I know black, some people may not have bought the initial one because it was black, but now they've got the 3 options. So definitely go check those out.
Yeah, between the 3, they should be able to find some that matches pretty good. And like I said, these will work on any vinyl harness. I've got my, we run some Kuiu vinyl harnesses that work for those. First Light, there's a whole billion of them out there, but it'll attach to any of them, which is also super nice.
Yeah, sweet. Well, let's move to something that recently launched at the Hunt Expo, and I was really excited when I heard about it at first. And this is an item that doesn't just work for your glass, but can also work for rifles and your camera setup. If you run a camera setup, this is something that is pretty outstanding. It's called the Nexus system. So for people that haven't gone and checked this out on the website, definitely go check it out. It's on pre-order right now. And if you pre-order it, we were discussing this, before the podcast, you're able to get it hopefully by the end of July. We'll be shipping July, August timeframe. So you get it in time for hunting season when you're going to want to be using this on your system, your glassing system, or again, cameras, rifles, etc. So walk us through the Nexus system a little bit and what people will be wanting this for, basically.
Yep, absolutely. Just like our snapshot system, this product, which we announced at the Hunt Expo in Salt Lake in February, this was a new experience to me, launching, essentially launching a product before it's actually in our warehouse. We have prototypes set up and we were doing pre-orders. The whole goal of that was to hopefully expedite the rate at which we could get these products into customers' hands. We had a tremendous amount of success at the Hunt Expo. We'd have one person come over to look at it, and all of a sudden they'd be bringing friends and family back to our booth, showing them like just the versatility, how easy it works. But just like our snapshot system, guys, this product was innovated and built to solve some pain points that I and others that we work with were experiencing in the field.
Pardon the brief interruption, guys. As you are tuning into this episode, you're able to go get entered to win my bow, the Omen, blacked out with an extra set of strings. Go check out the link down below. Every $15 spent on First Phorm using the link down below is going to get you entered in to win the bow. So this goes all the way through TAC Utah weekend. So if you're listening to this on the day it comes out, you've only got a couple days left to get entered. If you're listening to it afterwards, stay tuned. Get in on the mailing list down below so I can let you know I'm doing a giveaway every single month this year. I want to get back to you as we continue to grow the channel. So definitely get in over there so I can avoid all the spam crap that goes out on Instagram, social media, YouTube, etc., and can just get directly to you. I don't spam you with stuff. I send you one email a week, just keeping you updated on guests that we've had on the podcast, new episodes, maybe a screaming deal coming out, whatever it is. I let you know once a week. That's it, guys. You're not going to get a crap ton from me. So with that being said, let's get back into this conversation with Nathan. And again, if you want to order an Ollin Digiscoping system at this point, go over to Ollin, use code RedBeard, save 10%, and get your Digiscoping up to the next level. Here we go.
When you're in the field, timing is essential in everything that you do. And like I said, not just for hunters, for photographers, videographers, there's just certain moments in the field, you know, that animal steps out just in the nick of time, the lighting's just right, you know, early first light or the sun's going down. Timing's just absolutely essential. And personally, I never loved the process of how long it took me to switch my spotting scope onto my panhead, onto my tripod, to my binoculars. But the reality is, in my opinion, the most efficient way to glass when you're in the field is to start with your binoculars, because you can see a lot more area. And once you find something that you want to look at, then switch to your spotting scope if you have one, to be able to then zoom in and focus on what it is you're trying to look at. And I never loved how long it took me to switch from spotting scope to binoculars. And like John said, also leveraging that tripod for other equipment like cameras, rifles, etc. And so we, you know, originally the normal way that you switch, you put, your spotting scope onto your tripod, is you've got a plate that screws, a plate that screws into the bottom of your spotting scope, and then onto your panhead, you essentially have to unscrew this little knob here, slide that plate in. You've got to make sure you're completely flush, horizontal, or you're not going to be sliding in the right way, and untwisting and then twisting that back on. It just always takes time. And if you're sitting on a mountainside where you're not on perfectly level ground, and especially when it's cold and you're wearing gloves, I can't tell you how many times I would always miss the small slots you're trying to slide it into. And so I just hated that process. And so just like our snapshot, we wanted to build something that was quick, efficient, and universal, taking your guys' glassing experience or photography experience, hunting experience to the next level. And so if you're watching the video, I'm going to show you guys how this works. But if you're not, I'll try to explain it verbally so you get an idea. But essentially, we have what's called our Nexus base. The Nexus base is what's going to live on your panhead. I'll just show you guys with this one right here. It's ARCA compatible. So it's an ARCA rail. So anybody running an ARCA compatible panhead, this will just be able to slide onto that panhead. If you're running something that's not ARCA compatible, like a Manfrotto, a Serai, or something like that, there's two different holes on the bottom of our base that allow you to essentially tap any other plate into it. So the base plate, extremely universal. And the whole idea of this is, once you slide this onto your panhead and tighten and lock it in, you never have to move that thing again. It just lives, just like our snapshot on our spotting scopes or bino, it just lives on that panhead. Don't have to unscrew that anymore. You're good to go. Then we have what we call our Nexus plate. And the plate is the specific piece that'll attach to any of your equipment. I'm showing it right now on a spotting scope, but you can screw this into the bottom of cameras, rifles. We're going to have attachments that can go on any of those, the ARCA rail, the Picatinny rail, the stud sling rail, and then obviously the bottom of cameras. You can attach it to any bino attachment like there. But essentially, guys, it's got a magnetic design that even if you're wearing mittens in the field, it's freezing cold, the magnets pull it onto your spotting scope, and then it's got an alignment ring that twists and locks it shut. It's got a trigger on there so you can lock it on there. I'll try to show it right here in the video, kind of hard to see. But one of the things that we added to it too is it's pretty much like a safety lock mechanism. So if you're backpacking with this on your tripod, you can actually click this button in, that'll engage a lock. and prevent this trigger from being able to come down at all, so you can't accidentally like bump your spotting scope off if you're moving super quick. But you disengage that, and you can switch from your spotting scope to something like binoculars literally within a second without doing any unscrewing. It's just on there, quick, easy to use. I love setting it up too where, you know, if I'm in the field and I'm glassing specifically, I can lock my tripod in like this. You know, if I glass something with my binos, keep it where it's at. And then when I put my spotting scope on, I only have to make a minor adjustment to be looking at whatever it was that I glassed up with my binos. If you're using something big like a rifle stock, which I actually might have one here, I could go show you. But the other thing that you can do is to take this on and off is just twist your pan head itself, and then you can just tip this towards you and it'll come on and off. So again, this twist on there, you've got a clicky noise that you're going to hear when it locks, but if you're in a situation where you need to be quiet, you just hold that trigger down, and then you can just let that button go and you won't make any noise. So yeah, that's our Nexus system, guys. Again, it's a versatile tool to save you time, to make it more efficient, easier to use in the field, to accomplish similar pain points that we were wanting to accomplish with our snapshot. And you pair the Nexus with our snapshot, I mean, look at this, John. I mean, look how easy this is, man. Like that's literally 2 seconds. Like, I challenge anybody that has any other equipment right now when it comes to, you know, your plates that attach your equipment and your snapshot system to a race, and I guarantee the Ollin stuff's going to come out on top because it's just so fast, so efficient. And I've been running this for almost a year. And this is when I told you my ADD kicks in. Like, as I'm running prototypes, I have that vision. I can see the value that people are going to, you know, be able to experience in their own situations with it. And so I'm just anxious to get it into their hands. But that's why we did pre-orders, guys. We did pre-orders so that you get it pre-ordered, you can have it before hunting season this year and take advantage of it. But I used it in Wyoming on a deer hunt last year, or just this last fall. And literally this mountainside that we were glassing, there's just little slits of opening in between these thick trees. And the big mature bucks would come out for sometimes only a minute, and then they would go back into the trees. The younger bucks would kind of hang out for a while, but the bigger mature bucks, they'd come out, first light, you know, feed, and then get back in the trees. One particular situation, I had my binos, I glassed this buck up, locked my pan head in, switched my spotting scope, got my phone on there, and we caught like a 20-second clip, or maybe it was even shorter than that. It might have been a 10-second clip. That's the video that we used to go back, rewatch, and determine that was an older age class buck, a shooter buck, and we were able to go harvest that buck the very next morning. And had I not had that video, had I taken any longer to switch equipment around, he's in the trees and gone, and we wouldn't have known what to do. And so that's why, like I mentioned before, like, timing's essential. That's the reason we came up with the Nexus system. I'll let John kind of share some of his thoughts on the product, and then I can share you why we named it Nexus and kind of a cool story there too.
Yeah, and like you mentioned too, you can do this for cameras, for, you know, if you're a rifle hunter and you want to get maybe your bipod or something like that, which that's the other thing that kind of blew my mind too, was you can put this on a bipod, and then if the bipod's not tall enough or not getting you the angle that you need, you can twist that bipod off, throw it on the ground, and slap this on your tripod. You know, when I say this, the rifle on your tripod, that fast. No longer are you worried about, you know, where do I need to set up or anything like that. Most of us nowadays are carrying a tripod in our backpacks. And the other thing too that I really like about this system is that you don't have to keep your spotter on your tripod when you put in your backpack and worry about it being quicker to access. You can have your tripod in one side. A lot of backpacks nowadays have a spotter specific part of the backpack. So you can take the spotter off, throw it in there, and it's just as quick as if you had the spotter attached to the tripod to get it out and get yourself glassing. So, you know, that's invaluable. I mean, again, going back to how Digiscoping is changing things, how your story about the going out and knowing that that's the buck that you guys wanted to go harvest, all of those things. There's so many things that can change in the matter of seconds when you're up there. And, you know, your memory may not be the best. You're sitting there thinking, oh, I think that's the buck we want to go after. You hike all the way over there and then you realize that's not the one that I wanted to go after. And then you wasted that time. You could have been glassing up another buck, or, you know, there's so many things that go into it. So when I first got my hands on it was at the Hunt Expo, and it really is super impressive. Again, this will go on to anything that you need a tripod for. So again, your phone, or not your phone, or if you have a phone mount for your tripod, you can slap it on there too. But
Yep, same
your
thing.
cameras, anything that goes on a tripod, even a bipod. Again, going back to the rifle thing, making it super easy to get on and off your bipod. All of those things saves you tons of time, and it's just a great idea. So tell us, why did you come up with the name Nexus? What's that all about?
Yeah, so as a reminder, the word all in, which most people pronounce it wrong when they see it because it looks like Ollin, Ollin, but it's actually pronounced all in. It's kind of like you're going all in. So ancient Aztec word on the Mexica sunstone signifies the moment somebody becomes aware of what they can become. So our vision at All In, even since before we launched July 18th, has always been to help individuals become aware of their potential, become aware of what they can become. And then, so that's our why. That's our North Star. That's like what we will always be chasing and never 100% achieve, right? Because it's one of those things that, like, no matter how many people we influence, there's always more people to influence and help people become aware of what they can become. And then our how, so that's our vision, which is the why. Our mission, which is our how, is through our innovative products, strategic partners, and the content we share. Our mission is to connect you to your passions and inspire you to move and act with all your heart. And so that's always a key component of everything that we do in our products, in our collaborations, like working with you, John. And that's kind of the meaning behind that, where we originally were going to name this Nexus system something else. And then as we started doing some trademark searches, we found, you know, like a product that wasn't the same, but like, you know, sell in the same space. And so we kind of had to pivot. And one of my partners thought of this name Nexus. And at the time, we weren't like 100%, we just thought it was a cool name. Like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. And I kind of like the name too. It's like, this will separate, you know, Nexus is quite a bit different than our Snapshot. So we can have two different product categories. Anything that we design that, you know, is an accessory to our Snapshot or Digiscoping product will fall under that category. And then anything that we design and develop under the Nexus, which is, I'm telling you right now, there's a ton of products, Jonathan. We've got like over a dozen in the pipe right now that'll complement this Nexus system and be accessories that people can purchase with it. But we keep those two categories separate. But then I went and started looking at the meaning of what Nexus actually means. And so if you just Google Nexus meaning online, it says a connection or link between things, persons, or events, especially that is or is part of a chain of causation. And I read that, I was like, dude, that's our freaking mission statement.
Yeah, right.
Meaningful connections, not just with connecting things, which that's what this product does in and of itself. It connects, you know, equipment to each other, but it also has deeper meaning and connects people to, you know, a bigger cause or a bigger vision or a bigger mission. And so right when I read that, I was like, yep, we're going to name this the Nexus system. It's a cool name, but it's also, you know, we can dive into some deeper meaning. And so, yeah, that's kind of how Jordan Harbison and I think it was Matt Lloyd, they're both partners in the business. I think they're the ones that originally came up with the idea. And then I was the one that started doing some research on like what it means. And not every single one of our products is going to have this like crazy deep meaning with the name, but it was pretty cool that the stars aligned with that one. And yeah, that's why we kind of called it our Nexus system. So
I love it.
Thought that was pretty fun.
Yeah, no, I love it. That's awesome. That's a really good explanation of why, and also that's a awesome word, just like all in. And you say not everything's going to have that, but the next line you come out with is going to have some even more mind-blowing name to it. So,
right.
You know, that you guys are great at making the names to go along with the product. And it really is, it's not just, you know, for people out there that maybe have had digiscoping systems in the past, or maybe not sold on, for example, you have to have a specific phone case, things like that. Maybe, again, because of past bad experiences with digiscoping, I challenge you to go out and give this one a run, because it really is different. It makes digiscoping fun. It makes it easy. Again, I have a video showing my kids using it, and how easy it is for my 7-year-old, my 9-year-old. We've all used it and gotten footage and just really enjoy it. And it really does elevate your opportunity to enjoy the outdoors more. And it's not even just for hunting, like what you were saying. If you want to, maybe you've got multiple camera setups and you want to swap between cameras really quick. Maybe you're out shooting with your buddies and you're wanting to swap between rifles, and you don't want to mess with the tripod and move the tripod so much. All you have to do is click that little trigger, swap the rifle out, and you're in the same spot with your tripod. So there's so many different things that this can benefit, and it's not just for hunting. Now, the mass market, of course, is going to be for hunting, the majority of people that are buying it. But you can use this for so many different opportunities. It could be a great gift for people that are out there. Maybe they're bird watchers. Maybe they just like to go out to Yellowstone, things like that. It really is an opportunity for a lot of people to have a better experience glassing in general, and swapping, glass between binoculars, spotters, and camera, depending on what you're doing. So it really is an awesome system.
Yeah, and for me, anytime a new idea comes to my mind, specifically with products, like I'm super big on how can I design a prototype, a minimal viable product that I can take and show this to random people to get market validation, to see like, hey, is this a problem that only I'm having, or are other people running into this? And is my solution something that's going to work not just for me, but for others? And one of my favorite things about that process with our Nexus system is I was going and connecting with individuals that I knew or random people. I'd be showing, for example, one of our partners like Eric or somebody like that. And I'd be showing it to them, and their girlfriend and or wife, who wasn't part of the conversation, was watching and immediately would be like, oh my heck, like I want to run that on my camera. And we started to see that over and over and over again. Like we're always gonna, like, our bread and butter, our passion is in the hunting space. But it's really cool to see that even if you're not a hunter, you can enjoy these products and it can solve problems for those photographers. We've got people that are guides in like Yellowstone, Teton National Park, that are running our stuff, that don't do any hunting, that absolutely love the snapshot. And then now that they've seen the videos of the Nexus, obviously want to roll on that. Like there's people that run camera lenses that are $10,000. And we've had people that have shared experiences with us when they're going to slide the camera onto their pan head, with some of their older plates and deal with the screws, they've missed it and they dropped it and it's broke. And so this is another problem that solves is, the magnets, pull it in, twist locks. You don't have to be as finicky on trying to get it on and off. And so for camera lenses and things like that, it works super good. John, let me see if I have the rifle scope too, because I'm sure people are wondering how that works. I can show it in the video for those that watch the video. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, of course. And while he's going and getting that, I just wanted to hit on something else as well. So whenever you're sliding, and this may not be a huge deal for some people, but whenever you're sliding, again, your camera or your spotter or your binoculars or your rifle onto your Arca Swiss adapter, which is the majority of people nowadays, but there's also Manfrotto and a couple of other plates that people may use. But the vast majority of people using tripods and pan heads and things like that are using Arca Swiss. You have multiple opportunities to click it in on the rail. And if you don't put the rail in at the exact same spot every time, you might get a different balance on your camera, on your spotter, on your binoculars, your rifle. But what this also gets rid of is the variability of where you're sliding in your Arca Swiss adapter. It's going to be locked in. It's going to be locked in the same spot every single time. So the balance is not going to be different based on whatever item it is that you're using. Again, rifle, spotter, binoculars, camera. And you don't want to drop that. I don't have a $10,000 camera, but $10,000 lens, there's not lifetime warranties on those. So you drop it, you're done,
Yeah, I'll try to show this here, John, just so people can see. This just helps you understand the versatility of the product. So, spotting scope off, switch to a binocular adapter, locked in and loaded. This is another accessory that we know people are going to run on it. So this is a horseshoe saddle that you can literally put on, click on. That's what your gun would rest in if you're out in the field. And then you literally can just use your pan head as your fluid motion when the rifle stock's in there. Or if you're in the situation where you don't run one of those saddles, you can run it directly on your rifle stock in a few different ways. So here's one cool thing that you can also do with it is switch on and off bipods to your rifle. So I like bipods, but only in certain situations where I'm laying prone and I don't have a lot of thick brush that's, obstructing my view. I don't like having this on my rifle at all times because a lot of times it just becomes unnecessary weight and I'm not leveraging it. But with the system, now you can quickly lock that in, or if you're in a situation where you can't lay down prone and you need to lay down or you need to be shooting over brush, this is where you can connect it directly to your tripod, and same thing, within a second you're ready to go, and that all of a sudden becomes your fluid head. And then when you need to take it off, you obviously don't want to be twisting your gun, so you just twist your pan head and then that thing will just come right off just like that. So that usually, when people, it was cool when we were showing this at the Hunt Expo, switching from spotters to binoculars, people were like, oh, that is awesome. But then when we added like another piece of equipment like this, that's when people were like, mind blown, holy cow, where do I get one of those? Because it just like, it enhances, like I said, your entire experience out in the field and makes you a more efficient hunter.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's just another use case for it. I don't have a camera lens here, but I mean, people get the idea now. It would connect the exact same way and just make that whole experience just so much more seamless and universal. And like I said, you can connect this. The exciting thing for me about the Nexus system is it's not optic specific, it's not phone specific. And so this is going to be one that's easier to sell and retail, easier for customers to purchase, because they'll essentially be able to connect it to anything. But
exactly. And that's such a cool little feature, and even down to the fact that how I forgot the word, but where the placement is of the thumb button to unlock and lock your system in, right there up underneath. I mean, your thumb is right there, and so it's not like you have a twisty thing or anything that you have to mess around with. It's just a little thumb button. And so, there's I haven't, the only two things I think we addressed it were I think some people were mentioning concern about the centering of, going from binoculars to spotter. You address that, just a slight little adjustment, and you're back on exactly where you need to be focused. And then the other thing,
and that and as long as your pan head locks in, the only adjustment you typically have to make is just the height. And that's just because, a lot of times, especially if you're running an angled spotter, you're going to have your binoculars sitting higher. When you put that in, it's going to raise that a little bit higher. So then you just tip that down. If you're running a straight spotter, we've actually seen some people not have to make any adjustments when they switch from their binos to their spotter, because the way it sits is like almost the exact same spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot minor tweaks and adjustments if you lock it in than if you were just moving crazy and switching stuff around, because normally you're trying to find every, even just a general area you're trying to find again, which is always a headache.
Exactly. And then the clicking, you address that as well. Some people were concerned about the loud click. You can just hold that thumb button down, twist it to where it needs to be straight, and then let it release slowly, and it'll be locked in as well. You can verify that by, obviously twisting it around, make sure it's locked in. But I think those are the two biggest things that I've seen people mention or heard people mention about the system, some concerns, and we've hit on those. So
and I'll mention one word that's got brought up, and it's been funny because we received feedback kind of both directions with the little, it's a really subtle click. It's like literally clicking a button. And some people really want that click because it immediately tells them, I know this is locked in and ready to go. When you're sliding your pan head, your plates in, without our system, some of the other plates, you have no way of knowing if you actually slid that into your pan head. And so that's where it's like, maybe I have one side in, but the other side's not, but I don't know because I'm not tipping my head and looking underneath it. And so that'll fall off. And so the click actually gives that, like, that it solidifies that you're locked in and loaded. But then again, if you're in a situation where you're super close to these animals and you have to be quiet, that's where you can just hold that button down, twist it in, and let it go, and it won't make a single noise.
So here's another thought. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, the other thing that people have addressed is anytime you're using magnets and you're in areas like New Mexico where you've got a lot of iron in the dirt, and naturally everybody's going to eventually either set their equipment down in the dirt or drop it. And dirt and debris will collect on that. Most of the time, the dirt and debris actually isn't going to affect how this connects. The only time it gets to a spot where it could is we've got a small embossed alignment ring that's on our necks. It's just like our snapshot. And if that gets like coated in like thick mud, that could be the only time it could actually affect it. And so we're actually going to be launching one of the accessories we're going to do with this is it's just a universal cleaning tool. So it can be used for two different things: to tighten any of your equipment on there, because it's going to be an Allen wrench going to be built into it, but then it's going to have two brushes on it. One's going to be soft bristles, hard bristles. So soft and hard bristles, so that you can just get any dirt and debris out of that. But the other accessory that we're coming with to address that is, if your equipment's connected like this and you're running this on your backpack, you don't ever have to worry about this, because the only place that it would affect is the inside, and it's, the gap's closed. But if you're disconnecting it and running it in the field, we're coming out, it'll be a completely different color. This is obviously just a prototype, but we've got these protective sleeves that are going to go over top of that tight, silicone stretchy protective sleeve. So if you're running this in the field, you'll be able to put that on. If you drop this or set this in the dirt, it's going to keep that thing completely clean. This will still on top of it. This will be red and white. So also if you drop it, it's going to be easier to find. But that's one of the other things that anytime you're using anything magnetic, people bring that up is, is it going to collect that stuff? And it can. You've got to have a lot of iron in the dirt for it to really stick to it. Most places people hunt don't. But that's one other issue that people have brought up, and we've addressed it with those two solutions: the protective sleeves and then the cleaning tool.
Awesome. Again, you haven't even gotten it out to market, and you guys are already, coming up with these things and receiving that feedback from customers that haven't even used it. They're just thinking about it, and you guys are addressing that. So I absolutely love that. That's another thing, guys, that, about Ollin and the company and Nathan, the group there really takes your feedback, cares about what you have to say, what you think, and don't be afraid to ask questions, send over feedback. If they've already addressed it or they've received a lot of it, they're not just going to shoot you down and be like, oh, you idiot, we've already done this. It's you guys will genuinely answer people's questions and help people out along those lines as well. And something else I thought of, and I don't know, I know you have camera guys that run this system, between Eric and Martin Chag and others that run cameras that are a lot nicer than the setup I've got. But that shoulder mount, so I've got one here for cameras, and I've been trying to find a way, because I've got an Arca Swiss base plate on my camera, but this thing that mounts right here on your shoulder to be a quick disconnect for your phone or your camera right here on your shoulder. You can carry it here so you have access to be able to get out and get photos, videos, etc. That Nexus system would work for that. Having that little thumb button right here to be able to lock your camera in and then unlock it, pop it off, be able to use it, and then put it back on your shoulder.
Yeah, technically you could put our plate onto those and it would work, but this is something that we've been working on kind of simultaneously as we've been working on what you're seeing right now, which is what we're selling. We're taking pre-orders on now, shipping out of summer, but we're actually going to have our own version of that called the Nexus Mobile. And essentially it's going to be, this is the first time we've told anybody about it. So congratulations if you've gotten through this podcast. You're going to hear this first here on Jonathan's podcast. Yeah, we filed patents like over a year ago on that. We've been developing it, designing it, making tweaks and adjustments. But essentially, it's going to be our Nexus Mobile. It's going to be the product that you can strap onto your backpack or attach to your backpack straps, bino harness, wherever. And essentially, any of those Nexus plates that we showed you will be able to connect into those magnetically universally. But then we're also on top of these plates, John, we're going to have what we call our Nexus mini plates.
Okay.
And those Nexus mini plates are going to have a similar magnetic design, but they're not going to be quite as big. And that can go on smaller equipment like smaller cameras. Dude, you'll be able to put this on radios, Garmin, a pocket knife sheath, and essentially make it so that all of your equipment is going to be, we'll all be able to communicate with each other. They're all going to be able to connect on and off simultaneously, and you will no longer have to worry about carrying multiple different plates, unscrewing those in the field, dealing with all of that. And that's all going to be coming out with this Nexus system over the next 12 to 24 months. So a lot of innovative things, like I said, that's going to be coming out with Nexus. But yeah, you'll actually have your own Nexus Mobile. It'll kind of replace that base. It'll have the magnetic base built into it and make that experience even better and faster. And yeah, some of the feedback we received on competitor products like that is, same similar issue. You're wearing gloves, you're trying to move quick. Sometimes it's hard to find that sweet spot where that thing's sliding in and clicking, and that magnet, component to it really helps solve that particular pain point. And so, like I said, no one really knows about that except for you and your listeners now. So if you guys know, now you know.
Got an exclusive little tidbit there, guys. That's awesome. And again, this is why I'm not in product development, because I'm sitting here mentioning this and they thought about this over a year ago. So I just share the cool products with you guys. But yeah, I definitely don't think about these things well ahead of time. But you've got some great videographers, photographers, people that do attach their cameras here pretty frequently. And I was just again getting into having a camera, was thinking that would be awesome, because walking around. So I just recently went to Italy, and having I wanted to hold my wife's hand a lot, and she walks on the right side of me a lot, but that's also my camera hand now. And so it was kind of inconvenient, because I always wanted to have my camera in my hand for that moment or the shot or whatever I wanted to take, and not having that shoulder mount there was a little frustrating, on my backpack that I was running. So I understand why camera guys want to have it right there. So that's cool that you've got that system.
Yeah, now you'll be able to hold your wife's hand when you're out in the field, and your hunting buddy's hands if you guys want to hold hands out in the field too, and it won't get in your way.
That's only in Montana, right? No kidding. Yeah. That's awesome. Cool. Well, is there anything else that we didn't hit on that you wanted to bring up, and maybe just kind of hit on again your mission, and then some final words there to leave us with?
No, I mean, I appreciate you bringing me back on. Obviously, this podcast was pretty, geared more towards equipment and products that we've come out with. But again, I'll just hit on, for us, it all points back to that mission of connecting you to your passions, always innovating. That's our North Star. That's what's going to keep us moving the right direction. And so, like John mentioned, your guys' feedback is so essential for us, and not just product feedback, but how can we make our brand better? How can we make our our mission, how can we get it out there more? And so any of that feedback, guys, is always super essential. We just ran, for the month of March, we ran a giveaway. March is typically a slower time for sales. You're coming high off of expo season. We usually run a sell for a week or two there. And then March, April, kind of, that's the time frame where everybody's, they're waiting. They don't know what hunts they've gone out for. They've already spent their tax money that they got. And so we kind of ran a giveaway to kind of hopefully help spike sales, but also we just really wanted to give back to our community for helping us have such a successful year and a successful February at the expo. And so we put together our biggest giveaway yet, which was the Hawaii Axis. It's going to be a hunt and shed hunt that we're doing with Eric Chesser, Martin Skaggs, Shed Crazy, me and myself and Isaac Aliman, who's our marketing guy here at Ollin. And we want to continue to do this kind of stuff for our audience, for our listeners. And so any feedback we can get on, what do you guys want us to give away next? How can we continue to connect you to your passions through our products or through marketing campaigns like that? Just keep that feedback coming, because we listen, we hear you, and we're continually going to strive to do that. And so, no, I don't think I have anything else. I think this was like a perfect follow-up from our last podcast, which was a year and a half ago. Origin story, the why. If that's if that's something you guys are interested in, please go back and listen to that. And then, watch this video if you have the opportunity, and you'll be able to see how our snapshot system works, how the Nexus system works. And then you heard it here, just constantly innovating new products is going to be a big focus for us. So, no, I appreciate having me on. I don't think I have anything else.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for your time, Nathan. Again, I know you're a busy man. You got lots going on. You're juggling lots of things and new products and current products and everything else you got going on. But guys, the Ollin crew is continuing to grow because of you guys going out and making those purchases, helping the company grow. They're able to continue innovating at an even faster rate and coming up with these amazing new products for you to be able to up your game when you're out there enjoying whatever it is that you enjoy, from birding to hunting to going to Yellowstone and getting that footage that you want, everything in between. And you guys are definitely going to want to get in on this. So if you want to go order the Nexus system, get in on the pre-order so that you have it by hunting season. Definitely check out the link down below. It'll save you some money as well. It supports me here at the channel. And obviously you're supporting Nathan and their amazing crew by going and purchasing these products. Get your hands on it. It's going to change. I hate to be so cliche and say change your life, but it really is a game changer for glassing and for being able to get out there and enjoy it, and then share those memories with others as well, because you can't just plug a USB right here into your head and share those memories. Getting it on your camera, on your phone is essential to be able to come back home and share that and show your wife that you're not just out there BSing for 2 weeks, while you're hunting or whatever it may be. You actually are out there doing stuff. You may not come back with something, but you're enjoying it. So with that being said, thanks so much, Nathan, for coming on. Appreciate you. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. And as I always say, get out, live your life, and love it.
Thanks, John.
Thanks for tuning in to this one, guys. Hope you enjoyed that conversation. Nathan, he's got his own different style. I don't know how to explain it. It's amazing to see how his brain works. I absolutely love hearing from him. I love when I get to sit down and have a conversation with him like today, where we get to share things with you guys. And you even got to hear some new things that haven't even been spoken about before on the Ollin system and on their site and on Instagram, etc. So thanks for tuning in and hearing about that, guys. Again, if you want to go order your Ollin Digiscoping system, go use code RedBeard over there. Save some money, help support Ollin, which they are a local company here. Also, me here at the channel, so I can continue to bring amazing things to you guys here on the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you would subscribe to the channel, it helps a ton. It is a free way to help here at the channel. Also, you can click the little alert button so you get notified whenever I go live, do giveaway announcements, things like that. And leave a comment down below, any questions that you have for Nathan, for me, why I've chosen Ollin over any other digiscoping out there. Guys, last but not least, if you're listening to this on the audio only platform, go follow, leave a review. Again, it's a free way to help and support. And of course, come join us over at the Phorm Outdoors Facebook group. Let them know RedBeard sent you. I want you over there, guys, because one, it's free. Two, it's a community. And you know that if you're going on any journey, you need to have a community behind you, because you're going to have days where you're down, or you're going to have days where you're super amped and you're able to help other people lift their spirits on those down days that they may be having. So all of that to be said, guys, come join us over at Phorm Outdoors Facebook group. Get entered. Let them know RedBeard sent you. Find your group, whether that be hunters, anglers, outdoorsmen and women of all kinds, from runners to bikers to people that just enjoy camping, backpacking, whatever it may be. You're going to find your next community over there. Come join us. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And of course, get out, live your life, and love it.